TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Good morning, top of the morning to you. It is Addul Ali. It is December the 15th, 2022. Joe Biden is still the worst president in U.S. history, and today's coffee is out of our Marvel mug. So welcome to Top of the Morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Addul Ali, and you're watching on Millennium TV 24 on Amazon, Roku, or Apple TV, or on your smart TV, your Samsung. We also appreciate everybody checking us out on Facebook and Instagram and other social media outlets. And man, it's a good morning so far. We've got some cold, rainy conditions here in North Carolina. As always, if you're watching live, let us know where you're watching from so we can get you a shout out. We got a lot of news to cover this morning, y'all. But first things first, I just gotta send some shouts out, some heartfelt, really prayers and positive energy to all the victims of gun violence that suffer in all these major cities that we never hear about. You know, it's interesting whenever it's a white cop and a black man, or some mixture of that. It makes the news. It makes the news fairly frequently, and we don't hear about a whole lot. Y'all look at these homicide numbers in some of these major cities in America, and you see the numbers going up just ridiculously. Crime is up, and we need to think about how the left oftentimes wants us to focus on criminal justice reform. And one of the crazy things about that is you never hear them talk about victims' rights. You never hear them talk about, what about the people who this guy raped or robbed or did something to? What about the family of those people? You see the left, and they did this New York, this cashless bail thing, this idea that because Airfinger, quote, the criminal justice system is racist, right? We have to figure out ways to be nicer to the criminal. So I just want to give a big shout out first and foremost this morning to all the people dealing with this ridiculousness. This feeds into the idea of defunding the police, right? Terrible idea. Just terrible, horrible, terrible idea. Something that people on the left have talked about, and one of the things that it weirds me out is that you would want to put less of the people who are trying to protect people in the communities where they need it the most. It's beyond. I don't understand it. I don't get it. It's a weird thing. But we got a lot to get to this morning. We're gonna take a real quick break, and we'll be right back here on the show. Y'all don't go nowhere. Don't go nowhere. We'll be right back.
Season of the Urban Conservative Podcast is brought to you by Newton for Senate, working to improve education, reduce taxes, and keep North Carolina #1 for business. Find out more at newtonforsenate.com.
All right, folks, so we're back at it. I appreciate y'all for coming through. We got a couple of things. First thing, I know y'all seen Republicans have taken control of the House. And Nancy Pelosi is fired, no longer who she used to be, in other words. And she gave some final words here. I thought it would be good for us to review what Miss Nancy had to say at this point in the game, because Nancy has no job right now. Well, she's got millions of dollars that she made inside trading, but that's a whole different ballgame.
I had just been sworn in as whip of the House. It was the first testimony I ever gave as a member of the leadership. And today, this will be the last testimony I will give as a member of the leadership. I had just been sworn in as whip.
I wish I had the sound effect thing, because at this point, we'd be sound effecting and applauding the fact that we have no more Pelosi. Here's the thing. I think she was drunk a lot of the time. I think Nancy Pelosi was spit-faced 90% of the time she was up there. I just her demeanor, the way she moved, the way she ripped up the ripped up the State of the Union speech, it was just weird. I always thought like her speech, she kind of that slurred auntie that's always going to give you an extra grand in your Christmas card, but slurred speech auntie, that lady, I think that's who Nancy Pelosi was. But look, what are we going to do with the House now that we got it is the question. Okay, what are we going to do with the House now that the Republicans have it? What are you going to do with it? That becomes the question, ladies and gentlemen, friends and family, folks near and wide. That is the question. What are Republicans going to do with the advantage that they have? Does Kevin McCarthy become the speaker? That's it. Does he have the votes to pull that off? That becomes a question. Looking at 2024 on the horizon, and then knowing that Republicans are going to need, going into a recession, most likely, Republicans are really going to need to have a great policy 2-year term here. They're going to really need to do some effective things that not just in the air finger quote political jargon, keep more of taxpayer money in their hands. They're really going to have to figure out ways to work on policy that benefits people and then convey those policy benefits, because a lot of that stuff, that Republican stuff is not easy to swallow. I've been getting some messages here. Bear with me a second here. The biggest thing they're gonna have to figure out, right, is this federalizing elections thing. We don't need to do that, but the biggest thing they need to figure out is the border. We showed on this very show a couple of mornings ago the thousands of people, literally thousands of people lined up, waiting to hop on over the border. We need to deal with the fact that there are people doing it the right way, and there are people who are not. And the people who are not shouldn't be here. We shouldn't be giving them EBT. We shouldn't be giving them rental assistance. We shouldn't be giving them cash payments. We shouldn't be allowing them to vote, which is something they tried to pull up there in New York. You can't. We shouldn't be allowing sanctuary cities. If it were me, I would completely defund every single sanctuary city. And my brother, actually on the Urban Conservative, he talked a little about what the impact is of unskilled labor, this massive wave of unskilled labor into our country, how that impacts the economy. The other thing we talked about is who benefits. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, who benefits from having unchecked illegal immigration? Who, especially if you can figure out a framework to make these people voters. You figure out a framework to make these people voters, and then what happens is you got yourself a brand new voting class of people who will do whatever it is you say to do because you have given them everything for free. If you are astray even slightly, you'll know that that's kind of what happened with the Roman Empire. Unchecked immigration, unchecked welfare are two of the major things that that collapsed the Roman Empire. There was a bunch of things that did it, but this book I'm reading about it now, we're listening to anyway, is talking about how the unchecked immigration and the unchecked welfare. So you had Roman emperors just giving away land, giving away bread, giving away everything. You had the Roman military, and when we talk about unchecked immigration, the Roman military had become so diverse. There were no more Romans in the military. So who is the military gonna be, loyal to? Not Rome. And we gotta remember. And look, I know it's okay It's okay for people to fly flags that represent their ethnicity or their ethnic background, and I have no problem with that. But and look, I might get in trouble with some folks for saying this, and I don't really care. Uh, here's what irks me. And I know with the Confederate flag thing, people say it's not about race, it's about pride. Okay, let's remember something. Okay, we just hold on here for a second. Let's remember something. The Confederacy fought against the United States. So I even cringe a little bit at the idea of a Confederate flag. But when I see, or when veterans like me see people who are flying the flag of Mexico or flying the flag of some other country before they fly the American flag, that kind of is a weird thing. Especially considering if Mexico was that great, you'd be in Mexico. Like Clarence Henderson always says it. He says, "You notice people are dying to get to America, but nobody's dying to leave." That's a poignant thing to point out for people to realize. Ain't nobody dying to leave America. Let's see. I'm curious. Okay, December 15th, 2022 show. I'm saying it now. I guarantee you Brittany Griner does not leave the United States ever as a citizen. I guarantee you she does not give up her U.S. citizenship. What remains to be seen is she going to kneel for the Pledge of Allegiance anymore? I think that would be a terrible move. I think that would be a horrible move. I don't think that's a good look. We've got some folks jumping in on the comments. We need to focus on FBI connection with social media, work on getting immigration under control, and focus on taking energy back on American soil. I would 100,000% agree with that. Shouts out to Ornelas Michelle watching in her comments. We need to hold people accountable. These criminals, politicians are running amok with no consequences. That is a comment we've got from Melanie Smiley. Hey girl, I know you. Thanks for watching the show. We appreciate having you on top of the morning. But folks, we're gonna see what Republicans do with it. We gotta see what they do with it. They got the reins. You asked for the reins, and now you got them. So you got to see what you get. We got to see what you're going with it. There's some other things we're going to get into this morning. One thing, this whole idea, and we talked about this yesterday, right? This whole idea of what's happening in education. Okay, this whole idea of what's going on in education, and this is going to tickle. Well, not fancy. I think that's the terrible one. But if you're a conservative, you're somebody who sees what's happening in education, you might not even be a conservative. You might just be a regular normie person who thinks it's a little weird to have, a lot weird to have sexual stuff for kids, right? No. You ain't talking about, teenagers. We ain't talking about 1920. No. We're talking about kids. And what I'm about to show y'all, I can't make this up. The organization, okay, the organization that is promoting this, okay, there's a group of people promoting this, and it's called the NWEA, formerly known as the Northwest Evaluation Association, is a research-based nonprofit organization that creates academic assessments for students pre-K through 12. NWEA assessments are used by over 9,500 schools and districts in 145 countries. Okay? 145 countries. Now, I couldn't get to their website. I couldn't find more about them. But here's the thing with this, right? This is the book. The NWEA, an organization which provides resources for teachers, is suggesting teachers read this book to kids to help build social skills. And the book is The Hips on the Drag Queen Go Swish, Swish, Swish. Written by, ladies and gentlemen, Little Miss Hot Mess, and illustrated by Olga de Dios Ruiz. Both of which sound extremely like drag queen names. I'm sorry, Miss Dios de Dios Ruiz. My apologies if you're not, but if you are, your name sounds very drag queenish, okay? Sorry about that if you're not. But this is the book that NWEA is suggesting to read. Now, this don't nothing about this book. For those of you that are just listening, there's nothing about this book that says 18-year-old. There's nothing in this book, what appears to be this book, that says anything about, looks anything like it would be for a 15-year-old, 16-year-old. This looks like it was designed for kids. And on the cover of this book, the delightful play on Wheels on the Bus follows a dazzling drag queen on her way to perform a show. It is a joyful reminder to celebrate uniqueness. Yeah, if you're anything like me, you're going, what the lion is that? But there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The hips. I keep telling y'all I should put bourbon in this coffee. I say it most mornings. And I think I'm going to start putting just a I don't know, maybe a teacup. I'm not even mad, okay, at the fact that you have a book called The Hips on the Drag Queen Goes Swish, Swish, Swish. Hey, you want to write a book? Write a book. Okay, I'm cool with that. I'm good with that. All right. I'm not mad. There's people who enjoy drag. That's your business, man. You want to see a dude who thinks dressed up like a chick that floats your boat? Go ahead, man. But when you involve children, I think you've taken it a step too far. And I think most Americans will admit you've taken it just a step too far. Maybe there's a line and you've gone like a toenail length beyond the line. You just a touch too far. When you start targeting children, and we're not going to say this, right? We're not going to say that this is, because I've heard this argument, you can't equate the LGBTQ community, everybody that's gay, to a pedophile. I've heard this conversation, but when I start hearing things like it's okay to love who you love, that sounds ominous given and I'm going to get nerdy, the ubiquity of modern language, okay? The not saying what you're saying by saying a whole lotness of modern language, of the way most Americans speak, and especially the left in the media. I mean, honestly, they say a whole lot without saying anything, without giving any substance. And when they do give substance, it's only to set up a BS lie. Yeah, I know. They don't call it out like that on other shows. But ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We will be right back here on Top of the Morning. Stay tuned. Don't go nowhere.
This episode of The Urban Conservative has also been sponsored by Case Technology Consulting. Help your business get value out of its data and become more efficient and streamlined. Case Technology Consulting. Check out the link in the description.
Hi, folks. We're back. We're talking about the hips on the drag queen. Go swish, swish, and third swish got going on. The NWEA. Again, the NWEA is a national organization, okay? This is a national organization that operates in over 9,000 schools and districts in 145 countries. It's out of Portland, Oregon, interestingly enough. But this organization thinks that the hips on the drag queen go swish, swish, swish is adequate for children. I don't even know what to tell y'all. When we look at how corrupt the left is, when you look at the fact that there's clearly, okay, clearly grooming going on, okay? Clearly grooming going on in the schools. And why do I say there's clean going on in the schools? And I'm not saying all teachers. I'm not saying all of them. We're not going to argue that libs of TikTok is a thing. Okay, we're not going to argue that there's case after case after case of these liberal teachers putting LGBTQ pride flags up in classrooms. We just saw a video the other day of a teacher, get this, who was making kids pledge allegiance to the pride flag in a classroom. Isn't that a little interesting? And then when we say the grooming is not happening in the schools, then you have stuff like this happening. Yeah, let's take a listen to this. Then you have this happening.
High school choir exposed to scantily clad guests. Tonight, CBS 2's Michelle Geely spoke with upset parents.
I'm heartbroken for my son, choir group. I'm devastated as a parent.
Claremont parents like Sabrina Ho are asking serious questions, some even demanding the resignation of school board president and local teacher Stephen Lanusa over his alleged misconduct involving local teenagers at a holiday party at his home. These photos from Facebook, shown to me by an attendee at a special board meeting Friday afternoon, show the festivities, including shirtless male performers at the party where Claremont High School choir members were paid to perform for a school fundraiser.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, folks. If you're not watching, you don't see this, but that's gay as hell. I don't have no way to say it. Even my gay friends gotta admit that that's pretty gay. That's pretty gay for a Christmas party. What? You asked the high school kids, presumably none of them are old enough to drink. I ain't blind. I see 1, 2, 3 semi-naked topless dudes, which means, I could be wrong here, which means you brought the high school band over. You was trying to see which one of them boys was looking at them boys for too long is what you was doing, Mr. Nasty Principal Man. That's what you was doing, Mr. Nasty board chair guy, whatever your thing is. Let's finish this.
Upon the student's arrival, Mr. Lanusa invited the high school choir group into his private adult party in his home. They were encouraged to partake in food. The students did not begin their scheduled performance until over an hour later and were offered alcohol by party guests among appropriately dressed adult entertainers.
This dad says Claremont police have interviewed the students. He's angry that the choir teacher didn't chaperone the kids. He says his daughter was surrounded by drunk partygoers.
They were offered an open bar.
The students were?
They were offered an open bar. They were offered an open bar and to socialize with the half-naked men, the dirty Santa that offered and made disgusting comments to our children.
School board president Stephen Lanusa was absent from Friday's meeting. Before the other members went into closed session, the vice chair addressed whether others attended the party.
I would like to be perfectly clear. There were no other current or past board members present at that party.
Wow. So you're going to tell me that grooming ain't happening in the schools. Case in point. You're going to tell me that there's no concerted effort to get these kids. What was that about, if nothing else, other than grooming these kids to be a part of what he had going on? Now, we're talking about high school kids. Some of them might have been 16. We don't know. Some of them might have been 18. Some of them, but I think the age in high school is 19, 18, 19. That is insane, folks. And that's in California, which last time I checked was part of the United States. So we're not going to make this argument that there's not grooming going on in schools in this country. There's no way you make that argument to me. But what you do have is the United States Attorney General calling parents like that guy whose daughter was surrounded by half-naked, drunk people. God knows what those folks were saying to those kids in that party. God, I could only imagine the filth that some of those kids had to hear, right? But you have the Attorney General of our United States calling these parents domestic terrorists. Meanwhile, y'all cool with this. Where's the Department of Justice investigation into all of these teachers that are doing this sexual stuff? Where's the state, the national investigation on that? Where's the millions of dollars being spent on a study about that? pretty sad, folks. We live in a time where it's folks, I mean, you can't even call that a lapse of bad judgment. I don't even, there's no, oh, it was a mistake. I didn't know the party was going to be like that. There's no way you can say that, right? There's no way you can say that. But what you can point out to, right? What you can point out to is this. Disgraced CNN producer pleads guilty to child sex crime. The defendant solicited young girls, including the minor plaintiff, for the purpose of knowingly persuading, inducing, enticing, and coercing them to engage in sexual activity. This dude from CNN, former CNN producer, senior producer John Griffin, pled guilty in federal court after being accused of child sex crimes and charged a year ago. He pled guilty to using interstate commerce to entice and coerce a 9-year-old to engage in sexual activity at his Vermont ski house. 2 of the 3 charges against Griffin, who is 45 years old, were dropped by the federal government as part of the agreement. According to the AP, Griffin must pay full restitution to the victims, an amount which will be determined by the court, and has agreed to forfeit a Tesla and electronic items and to donate half of the proceeds from the sale of his Vermont home and the upcoming sale of a Mercedes vehicle into the court registry. Griffin's sentencing is scheduled for March of 2023. He faces a minimum of 10 years to life in prison and a fine of up to $250,000. And that's a CNN guy. So you're going to tell me this is not happening? Am I saying there's never been a Republican dude or somebody on the conservative aisle that's been found guilty of child sex crimes? We're not talking about that. What we're talking about is a push to the left, a moral degradation that's occurring, a normalization of behavior. Y'all hear people talking about this thing called MAPS, M-A-P-S, a minor attracted person. That's why I said before that statement, oh, you just love who you love. Nah, brother, that's going to lead you to me accepting some crazy stuff. We've already accepted some crazy stuff. I mean, just think about this real quick. This is how crazy this is. Let me find this other thing real quick. I got to show y'all this. This is how I know. So you see, the NWEA is supporting young people to read a book called the Hips on the Drag Queen Go Swish, 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 right? Meanwhile, simultaneously, you have this. You have Kirk Cameron being denied story hour slots by public libraries for a faith-based book. So a half-naked, I don't even know the pronouns, shimshur, whatever the pronoun is. You could put a half-naked drag queen in a library to read to kids, right? But Kirk Cameron has not gotten a single yes from 50 plus public libraries his publishers contacted because his message does not align. Okay? And he's got a faith-based book. Okay? He's got a faith-based book. And what they're saying is that this book, as you grow, is not suitable material. It doesn't align with their messaging. What is the messaging? I think the messaging is, hey, little boy, you might not even be a little boy. You don't know what you are, little boy. How about that? Have you ever felt weird, little kid? We talked about this yesterday. We talked about this yesterday, how the surveys that they're giving these kids at schools, just think this out. So on the one hand, you have Kirk Cameron, who has a book probably saying girls are girls and boys are boys or something similar to that, right? Yeah, you have him with a book, and then you have Drag Queen Story Hour. But then you juxtapose that with this. Juxtapose it with this, with the survey that went out to Oregon schools. Look at this. This is what they're asking kids. No, can't make this up. 6th grade, 10-year-old kids, 10, 11-year-old kids. What is your gender identity? Demi girl, demi boy. What in the farfig nougat? What in the flying falafel is that? To ask a 10-year-old. Here's the problem with this, right? Because we're talking about this in the context of it's okay to confuse a child by sending in. And I'm look, it's not my bag, y'all. Like Austin Powers would say, it's not my bag, ladies and gentlemen. The drag queen thing is not my bag, It's not my thing. But you'll confuse a child by sending him or her into a library. Because I could imagine being 8, 10 years old and seeing a drag queen for the first time and going, what in the... I could imagine that filling my brain with questions. That's okay. That's all right. And when they ask these questions, look at this survey, folks. Why isn't this clear evidence that they are trying to mix these kids up? What is your gender identity? If my kid was in this school and my whole raising of this kid, there was boy and girl, he gets to school, he gets this piece of paper. Now my son's got to ask a question. What is a demi boy? What is gender fluid? What is age? How is a human being agender? There's extreme cases of hermaphroditism, I suppose. But this, look, are you transgender? This is a 10-year-old kid. I'm not sure is dead smack in the middle. Notice the placement of the questions on this survey, folks. We're not stupid. You put yes as the first answer, and right in the middle, I'm not sure. Because you're either going to go to the first thing or you're going to circle C. We all know that's how we pass most of our tests at school. When you ain't know the answer, you went right to C. Don't even front. You know you did. But look at this. Are you transgender? Yes, no, I'm not sure. I don't know what this question is asking. That is exactly what we're talking about when we say that there's a concerted effort to take us morally to the left, further to the left, to further degrade society, Western society. That's the aim. There are self-professed. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. This is not conspiracy theoryism, which turns out conspiracy theorists starting to mean I told you so guy. But we're at a point where this is blatant. It's clear. It's obvious. When we look at what they're wanting us to normalize as behavior in our country. This is it. This is out of control. Speaking of out of control, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back here on Top of the Morning. We got a couple of more things to cover. Go ahead and share the content with a friend or family member. Grab you a cup of coffee, and we'll be right back here on Top of the Morning.
Of the Urban Conservative Podcast is brought to you by Newton for Senate, working to improve education, reduce taxes, and keep North Carolina #1 for business. Find out more at newtonforsenate.com.
We're back, ladies and gentlemen. Top of the morning to you. It is December 15th, 2022. Joe Biden is still the worst president in U.S. history. I'm still Addul Ali, and this coffee is still fantastic. Thank you for watching on Amazon, Roku, or Apple TV, or on your smart TV on Samsung here on Millennium TV 24. I want to give a big shout out to everybody that supports us over at the Urban Conservative. If you haven't done so, make sure you check us out every single Monday night, 8 p.m. live, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, all that good stuff, and listen to us wherever you listen to podcasts. And I want to give a big shout out, if you haven't done so already, to one of our other sponsors, My Southern Pink. Make sure you get your lip gloss and lip scrubs and oils and things from My Southern Pink. We'll be posting that down in the description of this video. So, folks, we're talking this morning about education. Where we left off was this amazing survey that was given to some kids. All right, we're going to talk about this survey. Again, in the context of Kirk Cameron being denied by libraries to go in and read his faith-based book, but for some reason, it's completely okay to have Drag Queen Story Hour. And then you turn around in another state and have questions like, are you a demi-girl or a demi-boy? What in the hell is a demi-girl? I'm not even gonna Google it because I don't want it in my search engine. Lord knows what's gonna pop up in my search engine if I start putting some of these terms in, and the next thing, you know, I got feds knocking at my door, looking. We ain't doing that. But what is this? Are you a demi girl or a demi boy? And y'all are gonna tell me that there's no concerted effort to sexualize children by the left? Because it damn sure ain't conservative-minded people that are doing that. And remember, folks, me personally, I follow what I call the 20-20-60 rule. 20% of people backcrack crazy to the left, 20% of people backcrack crazy to the right. The remainder of us, the other 60% of Americans, are right here in the middle. Logical, rational, thinking people that go, you know what? If we don't let a 10-year-old drink alcohol, we don't let a 10-year-old buy cigarettes, we don't let a 10-year-old serve in the military, you don't let a 10-year-old get married, what makes you think a 10-year-old should be at a drag show? Why isn't there an age limit on any of that stuff? Look at Southern Pines down there. Shout out to Emily Grace and all the people down there in Southern Pines. Just wanted to allow kids into a family-friendly drag show. Ain't no damn such thing as a family-friendly drag show. Okay? It's not a thing. I mean, that's like saying that I don't even know what that's like saying, because it doesn't make sense. But then, and we talked about this yesterday, but then you turn around, you talk about family-free drag show, President Biden inviting a drag queen to the White House that was like F the police, right? That was like the police are all racist, this, that, and the third. You got Biden inviting police-hating drag queens to the White House. You literally have people, and I'm going to find it because we talked about it yesterday, you literally clapping like trained seals. Here it goes. I got it right here. You literally have people clapping like trained seals because of this. Because you've got a drag queen dancing in the middle of a church. I can't make this up. Yo, and the drag queen, they're clapping. You see them in the back, folks, clapping. Diversity. Our strength. Okay, look, you might not be a Christian watching the show. Okay, you might not be religious watching the show. All I'm suggesting is have a little logical consistency. That's all I'm saying. Have a little logical consistency. Okay, you're gonna say, I'm a Christian. And hey, I'm gonna get in trouble right here. Y'all gonna judge me for this. This goes to y'all black church choirs too. This goes to y'all black churches. Y'all have to have some logical consistency. The book says, I didn't say, Millennium TV 24 didn't say, Raheem or Ali, you at home didn't even say, that for a man to dress like a woman, for a woman to put on a man's garments is an abomination before God. I didn't say that. That's what's in the Bible. That's what God says. If you're a Christian, that's what God says. So how are you in a Christian church allowing not just a man to wear a woman's clothes, but a man to personify a woman or attempt to personify a woman? This is the extreme beyond the extreme. Look at this church full of people clapping, diversity. She's living her truth. He's got sausage, but it's a she. Yo, what is happening, folks? You know, I've seen this thing on social media where it's something about a dog having 4 legs and it not being true. No matter what you do, a dog having 5 legs or whatever the Abraham Lincoln thing is, just because people say it a million times doesn't make it true. Okay, we're at a point where people are gonna have to either, I don't know. I don't know what the church does. I don't know what they do. But folks, this is what the church is allowing. And look at the size of this church. This is not some poor black church in the middle of nowhere. This is some massive, humongous I don't know, maybe United Methodist Church. I don't know. Maybe that's why they're leaving. That's why you have so many folks leaving these denominations. Because this is not. This is what they're doing. This is what they're allowing to have happen. Is drag queens dancing around in the churches. I don't think the lightning bolt from heaven comes down and crashes on that church. I don't think that happens. I think what happens is our society, Western society, eventually collapses. I don't know how much time we got left, folks. I really don't. If this is the direction we're heading, if we're heading in the direction of anything goes, I think it was Alan Krauss, the do what you will, do what thou will, or whatever that is, that the old Satanist thing, the Aleister Crowley line, do what thou wilt to whatever you want to do. You know, that this is not, ladies and gentlemen, not to end well unless we start fighting back. Unless we start getting conservative-minded, normal, rational thinking people elected to office. Unless we get people who care about basic American values, bro. Basic American. Listen to this. The president of the United States is out here saying that there are laws. This is the height of the hypocrisy. This is the height of it. It's coming from your president, folks. The president that y'all, whoever these 80 million people were that voted for him, y'all, this is your guy. This is your man's in them. There's hundreds of laws attacking trans kids. That's just it. Listen to that.
We need to challenge the hundreds of callous, cynical laws introduced in the states targeting transgender children, terrifying families.
All right, first of all, he still thinks he look cool as hell in the Maid of the Shades. Bruh, you look crazy. I'm just gonna say it, man. Man's up here looking like a whole live skeleton with shades on, bro. Man's up here looking like a whole live, I don't know what. Bro, why are you going with the aviators, man? Let it go, bro. Just let it go, man. Hundreds of laws attacking.
We need to challenge the hundreds of callous, cynical laws introduced in the states targeting transgender children.
Transgender children. This boy can't even speak. Yeah, I said this boy can't even talk. Y'all president can't even talk, man. Hundreds of laws attacking transgender children. Does anybody know what in the hell he's talking about? Could y'all help me understand?
Terrifying families and criminalizing doctors who give children the care they need. We have to protect these children so they know that.
So let me get this straight. In his mind, allowing parent to genitally mutilate, hormonally mutilate, psychologically scar, and a child's life forever. You need to protect that. Somebody tell me what percentage of the population is trans or whatever. Why is the president of the United States
terrifying families and criminalizing doctors who give children the care they need?
Chopping a little kid's penis off. It's not care. It's not medical care, man. That's savagery. That's absolute savagery. I don't care if you're a Democrat or a Republican, unaffiliated, whatever. That's savage. Where are we going as a society? Where are we heading as a country? When your man's, the president of the whole situation, just said we need to protect doctors who hormonally mutilate, who surgically mutilate, who chemically mutilate children. We need to protect them. We're terrifying parents who want to turn their children into some sort of Frankenstein hormonal sexual experiment. That's what you want to protect. You don't want to protect the southern border, though, Joe. That's too much to ask, okay? It's too much. You don't want to protect law enforcement officers who are being ambushed in these major cities. You don't want to protect tax-paying American citizens. You want to protect the people who want to mutilate their children. That's who you want to protect. Well, Joe, you got about 2 years to go, brother, and I think we're going to see a change. I think some things are going to be changing up. Folks, you're watching Top of the Morning here on Millennium TV 24. You're also watching on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter live on The Urban Conservative. If you haven't done so already, jump over to tuconservative.com. Show us some love over there. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back here on Top of the Morning.
Of the Urban Conservative Podcast is brought to you by Newton for Senate, working to improve education, reduce taxes, and keep North Carolina #1 for business. Find out more at newtonforsenate.com.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Top of the morning to you, ladies and gentlemen. You're checking out Top of the Morning here on Millennium TV 24. I'm your host, Addul Ali. If you're just joining us, we really appreciate you. If you're watching on Amazon, Apple, or Roku TV, Samsung Smart TV, make sure you download that app so that you can watch our content anytime, anywhere. We really appreciate you joining us this morning. Hope you are having a wonderful morning this far. It is December 15th, 2022, and Joe Biden is still the worst president in U.S. history. We were talking about this transgender thing, and I just came across this story real quick. I'm gonna share this with you guys on the tail end of today's show, but y'all got to take a look at this. All trans team. Oh, this is gonna be good. Okay. All trans hockey tournament pitting men against men results in women leaving ice on stretcher. It's being reported by the Daily Caller by Sarah Weaver over at the Daily Caller. Check this out. A female athlete was left concussed after a male checked her to the ice during the National Hockey League NHL-sponsored all-trans draft tournament in Wisconsin. Jonathan K. reports the NHL came under fire in November for a tweet that read, "Trans women are whoa. The Hockey League is woke now? The Hockey League went woke? No, not hockey. I thought this was some sort of maybe experiment. I thought it was a joke. Maybe they were trying to be funny, but apparently, the NHL is woke now. Oh, this can't be good, folks. This is not good. The NHL is woke. Oh my gosh. I don't believe this. So a female athlete concussed. You got trans men, I guess. Trans men are men. So the NHL is saying this. Trans women are women. Trans men are men. Non-binary identity is real. That's a very interesting statement. The league made the comment after announcing it would sponsor the tournament, which included about 80 transgender and non-binary players. I'm laughing because I know how this goes. You get a 210-pound trans woman, oh buddy, G-checking a 180-pound trans man, which is a woman, that still ain't gonna go good. And as you can tell, concussed. What level of madness are we at when we're allowing the NHL, bro? I gotta cover this another morning. I gotta do some research on what the NHL is doing. I don't follow hockey. I'm not a hockey guy. I've gone to a hockey game. I thought it was really cool in person. I don't like being cold, so that was a little awkward. But I do like the pace of the game of hockey. I really don't understand what icing is and the whole rules. I've never looked it up, but I could do some hockey. If I go see it, it's okay in person. But I would have never assumed, with the brawny nature, with the testosterone-fueled nature of people duking it out in a hockey game, that going woke would be the last thing that NHL would do. I don't think, I just don't think women, NHL, trans, I just don't think that. So is that a mistake for the NHL? I'm going to have to do some more research. We'll cover that another morning, but that's interesting. You put a biological man on some ice with a biological female, whether they're trans men, women, whatever they identify as, okay? You put them on the ice, somebody's going to get their head cracked. Somebody's going to end up getting their head cracked, okay? And that's exactly what happened. That is exactly what happened. Somebody got their whole live head cracked, sitting on the ice with your head cracked because you thought he was in. Speaking of head, I gotta do this to y'all. Speaking of head, look at the head on him. Oh, look at the head on that guy. Got your whole job revoked. Sam Britton no longer employed by the U.S. Department of Energy. Yeah. And then people were laughing at his fashion, and they were saying, yeah, you'd have terrible fashion if all your clothes came from other people's bags. That would be that. Yep, that's essentially it. But folks, every single morning right here on Millennium TV 24, make sure you are checking out Top of the Morning, where we're going to have news of the day, overnight news, and breaking news, and some special guests here and there. We really appreciate you all supporting the show, supporting the content. If you haven't done so already, please jump on over to tuconservative.com. Get yourself a membership. We'd really appreciate that. Make sure you download the Millennium TV 24 app, and you're watching on Amazon, Roku, and your smart TV. My name is Addul Ali. Y'all have a good rest of the day, and top of the morning, folks.
Of the Urban Conservative Podcast is brought to you by Newton for Senate, working to improve education, reduce taxes, and keep North Carolina #1 for business. Find out more at newtonforsenate.com.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.